Hello everyone, welcome to MaloneCCS, and today we're going to talk about Markdown language. We're going to talk about the history of it. We're going to talk about why you would use it, and then we're going to also just look at examples of using Markdown language within the app Obsidian, which is one of my favorite tools. So let's go ahead and get into it. When we start thinking about Markdown language, it was created in 2004 by a gentleman named John Gerber, and he was collaborating with another gentleman, Aaron Swartz. And what they did, they was trying to find a way to have some type of language or some type of style of writing so that it was easy to be read by humans, easy to be written or typed by humans, and it was also easy to convert over to what we know as HTML or hypertext markup language. One of the things that you can do with Markdown language is it can go across many different applications. So if you're in just say Microsoft Office, or if you're in just an open source like Open Office, if you're in any of those type of applications, just any type of writing app, it's easy to still use this particular language, and it's universal. One of the things that, if you're a person who takes notes, and one of the reasons I love it the most is it's future proof. I love using the application called Obsidian, and it's a great note taking app. But if for some reason Obsidian is no longer being developed, or is no longer something that I can use on my system, I won't lose all of my notes that I've created, because it's going to be able to transport and be, transmitted over any type of email or whatever else. I can use it on various other type of applications and stuff. So if the particular program that I'm using just happen to go away, I don't lose all of that work or try to figure out ways to like convert it into another style. And one of the things I have noticed, using like Microsoft Office until here recent, if it wasn't a docx file, you couldn't transport it over into another writing application. But see, you don't have that issue when you using Markdown language. And one of the things, easy to take notes, and that's why I want to go into using Markdown language in Obsidian. Okay, everybody. Now what we're getting ready to do is we're going to go through step by step how to use each one of the things as far as Markdown is concerned within Obsidian. So the first thing we're going to look at is headings. Right here, we're going to look at headings. There's actually 6 different lines of headings that you can have. The way to create one is to use hashtag, and you see it's trying to create a tag, and I'll tell you about that later. But you create a hashtag, and then this is like heading 1, and you have it large just like so. I'm gonna go ahead and get those out of our way. So now we're gonna do heading 2, and then it's kind of like etc. So if I go 3, and then we'll drop down to maybe scroll down some. Now, one of the reasons that you would want to use this is, and you see right here, you see how within Obsidian you have like this down arrow. If you actually go to a heading, so let's go to heading 1, we can press this, and everything that's underneath heading 1, it actually collapses. One of the things that will be so easy and so useful for you as you're working with your headings, or you're working with some of your notes, if you have many lines of text, or many lines of information as far as paragraphs and stuff, and you don't want to work on all of this, if it's kind of like bunched up or just all in your way, one of the things you can do is you can collapse that heading for a particular heading or text, and you can actually go from there, and it's easier to work with and stuff. So that's how you do your headings. So now we're going to go to bold. So we see bold here. When you actually want to do a bold, you're going to use the asterisk key. So I'm going to go ahead and put in here testing bold text. So when you want to bold something, we're just going to use, I said one. You actually want to have two asterisk in front and behind the text that you want to be bold. And you see how this is bolded now. So that right there is how you use bold within Obsidian. Now italic is actually the one asterisk. So who's there? Testing italic. And what we'll do here, we'll just put the one asterisk. And that's going to italicize a text. Like so. A lot of people don't really use the strike through, but I'm going to show you anyway. One of the things you want to do when you go to the strike through right here, just say not, I'm going to put not good. You're actually going to use a italic key, as they call it. That's a little squiggly line that is above your tab key, and it has like the other little hyphen, not hyphen, but yeah, that one. If you give it two of those, it will strike through your text just like so. So now we're gonna go to highlights. So just say, for instance, we want to highlight some text. What you want to use is double equal signs. So we'll say highlight this. Let's get that out of our way. So if we give it two equals, usually whatever the color that you want to use in your settings as your highlighting color is what's going to pop up. So for me, I wanted to use yellow as a highlighting. And to keep from it continuing on with other text that you may start typing, always put like the two equal signs in front and the two in the back of whatever you're highlighting. So now let's go to block quotes. With block quotes, when you're doing the block quotes, one of the things is, you know how they always talk about the Pac-Man sign. So this is going to be like the Pac-Man sign is greater than. So that is going to be, for those who don't know where your period sign is, it's going to be that. And then if you actually set test, it actually puts it in a block state. So if I go into reading mode, you see right here, it's actually inside of a block quote. So now, horizontal rules. It's several ways to do the horizontal rules. One of the things that you'll actually see and you'll get used to doing is just using your hyphen, keys. So as we go in here, what we're going to do is we're going to give it 3 hyphens, like so, and it should highlight that that's what you're doing. So from there, if you press enter, you'll actually get that particular horizontal line. One of the reasons that I'm going to stress to you, kind of understand what you're doing, because the same way that if you're inside of Obsidian, if you use the hyphen, line just like that, and then you put one below it at the very top of your page, what you're going to do is you're going to create a manual section for all your properties. So sometimes you may not want to use that. Now, one of the other things that you can do is you can use your underscore keys. So if you go back up there where your hyphens is, and you go 1, 2, 3, if so, you get another another horizontal line. One, asterisk is going to italicize it. 2 is going to bold your text. 3 is going to make a horizontal line. So remember, there's 3 ways. You can use just your hyphens. Need 3 of them. You can use underscore, and you need 3, and the asterisk if you use 3. So that's how you get that. Now your inline code is one of the little doohickey that's right there with your tilde key. So now if we go ahead and just use 1, it's going to make this an inline code, and if you put in inline, you'll actually see that it's going to be a faint highlighted section. But as you're using actual code, especially if you're using community plugins and stuff, that's what you would use for that. Now, if you're actually getting ready to use like an actual code block, one of the ones that I'll use to kind of give you an idea of what that is, you want to have 3 of those. So you do 1, 2, 3, and it's going to make an actual code block. So I'm just going to call this HTML. So HTML. And if you put in actual HTML in there, you'll see this right here will be a headline 1. So heading 1. So let's say text. I'll close it. And you see how I actually messed that up. So, but then if I actually close this, you see that we have this here. What you don't see on the screen right now, at the end of it, it would actually tell you what particular code is within that heading, in your code block. So within your code blocks, if you actually, again, go into it, it will tell you what code that you're using. So if you're using Python, JavaScript or something like that, if you put that as this here is your main title of that code block, it will let you know that's the actual type of code that you're using. Now your order lists actually are when you're using numbers to do something. So I'm going to go ahead and skip 1. I'm going to say 1 and period. So then when I hit space, you see that now I'm going to have, I'm just going to say here, and I'm going to press enter, and it's automatically going to bring up a 2. Just like that. So when you're actually doing an order list, if you start out with a 1 and a period, you type in your information from there. It's like the 1 period space, type in your information. If you press enter, it's automatically going to want you to stay within that order. And the way to get out of that is you press enter twice. And from there, you will get away from having number 4, just like in this example. So now, if we go to unordered list, what you'll do is it's actually just 1 hyphen. So if we give 1 hyphen and then space, it's going to, in mine, it's going to give you a dot. So I'm going to say test, testing, and testing more. So right there, you have the same. But you see, this is an unordered list. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you press enter to drop down and enter again, that gets rid of your unordered list. So now the task, this is one, it can sometimes give you an error because of just how you come up with your actual, with your way you go into the order. So make sure you do it just like this. You need a hyphen, then you need like the brackets. And if you're wondering which brackets I'm talking about, the brackets right after the P and not with your shift key. So if you go, if you go up here and you space, and then if you go just like so, it should a lot of times already be in there as default, put 2 of those bracket keys together. Now, if you space in there and then space, what you have now is a checklist. So now I'm going to say testing. Well, let's do this. Throw garbage. Let's see. Fetch away movies. So if you do this, and as you get finished with something, you can actually click it with your mouse and it will mark it out as a completed task. So this is how you can create checklists. And just like the ordered list and the unordered list, if you press enter, then enter again, it gets you out of that. And these can still be recycled. So you may find, uses for creating a template that has those. When you get to the external link, the way that you do this is we first want to have your brackets. So you have the brackets, and the information inside the brackets is pretty much the actual words that is going to let you know that this is a link. Then we're going to add in parentheses the actual link itself, and it should highlight a way to show you that it's going outside of Obsidian. So this is what I mean. So right now we're going to just go ahead and say let's see, I want to say markup, markdown, guide, website. So right there we have the actual name that is going to be shown with the link. So now if we use parentheses, which should by default give you both sides of your parentheses, if I put in there, I think it is literally markdown guide, .org. So let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and copy it so that we can do this easier way. So right here, I'm going to enter in the actual link. So right here is the link, and if you see right here, it shows you a little square with an arrow pointing out. So if you go outside of this, it shows you the Markdown Guide website. And if you click on it, and I do have what they call the website viewer inside Obsidian. So when you click on it, it shall take you from within Obsidian to an external link that right here is the Markdown Guide. So that's how you do external links. Now, one of the strong features inside of Obsidian is you can create an internal link. And an internal link is if you put two of your brackets, and it should give you list of things that actually, links that's already within your notes. But I'm going to just say testing. And so if you do so like that, you see right here, if I click on it, I'm going to a new page because I just linked to an internal page inside of Obsidian, even though it's not created yet. So that's where you can start typing. So that is in Markdown, that is an internal link inside of Obsidian. So now we have links to headings and blocks. So this is where you remember, I'm going to go to the very top of our page to show you how this works. So at the very top, we have heading 1. So what I want to put in heading 1, I'm going to put in to the internal heading link. So when we get through putting this in, we're going to give the link a name, and it should link us to this particular heading, which is heading 1, and we should come all the way up to the top of this here. So let's go all the way back down to where we were working. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and give the 2 links, and then I'm going to say testing heading link. And I think I did this incorrectly. So, but then if I give it a hashtag, and we go to 1, that goes to there. So I did it incorrectly. One of the reasons I always keep things just like this, so that you can see for yourself how to correct it. I can actually name this whatever I want, and this is a great time to show you. If you use what they call the pipe signal, we can give it an alias, which means just a different name than what it's actually called. And we're going to say testing heading link. So when I click off of here, it's like a link, but it's going to bring us to the top of where I have heading 1. So when I click on it, it brings us up here. You see, we're back to this particular spot right here. Now, embedded files. Now, this is a good one. One of the things that I've come up with is I found a picture, and it's going to show us a Bible. And what we're going to actually do is we're going to embed this particular image inside of our file. And you can get more detail with it, but I'm going to do it just as plain Jane, right now. First thing you want to do is have an exclamation point. Then you want to give it double quotes, and you want to find your actual either file or note. So like we could actually put a note inside of a note, and it's not a link. It would actually show you the actual file itself within your note. Or you can actually do like what I'm doing right here. I'm actually using, if you see that right there is a note, but right here is the picture that I want. So I click on it. It's actually got this huge picture in here that you don't see at the moment, but it's this huge picture. And I want to say I could do like 300 pixels. And if I press enter, and now here you go. So if you put in 300, it actually gives you 300 pixels, which is this here. So in case you didn't see it, we'll go over here again. If you notice, this is the full size of it. I put in the pipe symbol, symbol. So then I'm gonna go ahead and set 300. And if you notice, it says the image size is right there, 300 pixels. To accept, press enter. And now we have our image embedded inside of our note. So now the comments. This means it's not like the normal type of comments that you may be thinking about. This is to comment something out of normal viewing. So right here, I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to say test. Now let's go ahead and comment this out of the file. So if we go to what is called the reading view of this, you'll see that right in here. Let me go ahead and move this up. Give me just a second, everyone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this out. What you want to use is the percentage signs, but you want to use 2 of them. So give it 2 percentage signs, which is over your number 5 key. If you do that, everything from that point on is commented out of your file. Now we're going to go ahead and close this off, just like most of the things that you're doing within Markdown. If you comment this out, everything you see comments here, see tags, and you see callouts. Here's what's going to happen. Once I go into reading mode, this is no longer going to be viewed, by anyone that's just reading in reading mode. So you go to reading mode, and now it's just like you've never had anything, typed in there. This is a great way to actually have something to remind you of your notes that you may want to go back to later on. And if you're just reading it, for the time being, you don't see all of that, but you see right here, this is a way to actually comment something out or to pretty much remind you later on why you need to work on something. Now, tags is kind of like what I was telling you in the very beginning. If I just say, help, and I put just the hashtag without a space, this now becomes a tag. One of the things that most people do is they use these tags to help them to separate or put in categories their notes or anything like that that they're working with. One of the best, ways to do this, unless you have a great way to do your own workflow, is to put these tags in your properties section, which is normally at the very top of your note. So this is, a way to put a tag into your workflow. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is callouts. Hey everybody, I wanted to make sure that I let you know I messed up during the callout, but this is how you actually do a callout. You first give it a bracket, and just like I was saying, if you do a callout, you can have info, danger, just all these other type of names, or it can actually be something that's custom, but I'm going to use info. So now you have the brackets. Now create a exclamation point inside of the brackets. Then if you put in info, you'll be able to start typing down all this information. But the one key that you got to always remember when you're creating a callout is make sure you have the Pac-Man system, symbol, and make sure that it is the greater than. So the greater than, and then the info as far as, info just like that. Testing my call outs. Testing some more. Finish. Testing. And when you do so, you actually have a box like this. Now, one of the things that we can actually do is when you have a call out, you can actually put a minus or a plus sign. If we put a minus sign, it's going to automatically collapse that particular box. So right here we have the info, and if we press on this, it will drop down your information that's in there, and you can always go back to it, or you can collapse it. This would be great for you if you have something that you're really working on and you want to always have something to refer back to. You can actually create your call out to remind you what this is. And just like the comment part, it's like sometimes people want to comment something out and they get rid of it by using the percentage signs. But with a call out, you can always, give yourself a heads up about something. And as I was saying before, sometimes you may want to go ahead and already have it. By default, it's already open, but it also gives you the option to collapse or open it. Whereas if you do not put a minus or a plus sign, then you do not actually get that option to collapse that call out, box. It's just automatically there. So that is how you actually use Obsidian, and you use Markdown language within Obsidian. I truly appreciate all of you joining me with this, and till next time, just like always, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not on to your own understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path.